Hello, Lenormand lovers. I'm Lisa Young Sutton, and today I'm beginning video number 7, the final video in the core foundational series for the Petit Lenormand. I am presenting this video in several parts, each addressing a single topic so that it should be easier for you to find the right video to answer your questions. So today the first topic I'm addressing is one that's frequently asked, and that is, how do you interpret the partner card in a grand tableau? Now let me start by giving you the details of this spread, because this is the spread I'm going to use for all the parts of this final video. First, the deck I'm using is the Mystical Lenormand. This is not a deck I normally use, and if you notice, this is a full-size deck, not a mini deck, which I normally use in my videos. But let me just explain that this is a GT that was sent to me by a friend. So these are not cards that I pulled myself, that I drew myself, okay? So this is somebody else's spread that they shared with me. The only thing I know about the seeker is that he is 21, male, and currently dating a female. So I'm naming the seeker Kronos and his girlfriend Rhea. Okay, the time frame for this spread is 8 months, and my friend that gave me this GT is a traditional reader, just like me, and uses the same directional cards that I use. Now this is important to know because how you read the cards affects how they fall, right? So before you attempt to read someone else's spread, you need to know what card meanings they use and what their interpretation method is. All right? Otherwise, you're not going to get the same answers. All right. So, like I said, this is not a deck that I normally use, but I needed to recreate the deck using the same directional cards. You know, and I had no mini decks where the directional cards that we use were facing the same direction. So that would change the whole spread, the whole meaning, right? I'm referring to the rider, right? The rider, the ship, the clouds, the snake, the scythe, and the fox. If I had used any of my decks where these cards were facing the opposite direction, or the dark side of the clouds was on the opposite side, right? Then that would change the whole meaning of the spread. So that's why I had to use the same deck. Okay, let's get back to the topic. How do you interpret the partner card? Okay, first of all, here is Kronos, and here is the partner card. This is Rhea. All right, so how do you interpret the partner card? The first thing to understand is that there can only be one seeker, also known as the primary significator. Because we all associate with other humans, other people will show up in any GT. Other than the partner card, we have all the cards with court insets that can represent people, which these cards don't even have court insets, but all right. I mean, they didn't come into play into this, okay? But other than the court insets, we have the garden card, the rider, the child, the dog, and the bear, right? They can all represent other people. All right, so for any cards that we are seeing as other people in a spread, the information they provide must contain some relevance to the story that's being relayed by this spread for the seeker, right? Now, I know some of you are saying, really? No kidding, Lisa. But consider how you or the people you're reading for suddenly ask all sorts of questions about the partner card, right? That have no relevance to the current story, such as, oh, by the way, how does my boyfriend like his new job? Or how does he feel about my mother or my dog? Or how does my boss like her new car? I mean, new readers may be tempted to find all of that information in this same spread, but just remember that there's only one seeker. So if the question is irrelevant to the seeker's current story being relayed by this spread, then you need to lay separate small spreads to answer such questions, okay? All right. Now, so what information can we see regarding the partner card? Well, that depends on our intention for who that card represents. Did we assign that card to a known person? Sometimes we have no idea who that card will represent because the seeker isn't in any sort of relationship. In that case, it will represent the person who's playing the most significant role relating to the story that these cards are imparting for the seeker. That card may turn out to be a family member, a co-worker, one's ex, a doctor, a lawyer, etc., right? The surrounding cards and the shared cards will explain who it is. All right, now I just said something really important. The surrounding cards, we're talking about the partner card. The surrounding cards, the cards that touch the partner card, and the connecting cards, the cards that connect the partner card to the seeker's card, will determine, right, will answer your question about who this is, all right, if you didn't assign that to someone. Okay, now to follow my lingo, know that when I say rows, I'm talking about the horizontal lines, and when I say columns, I'm talking about vertical lines. Okay, columns are vertical, rows are horizontal. All right, so now that's important because how do we connect the partner to the seeker? I use the columns and rows like graph coordinates to find the intersecting cards. So what we know about the primary significator or the seeker is that their line of sight is their row, okay? Right? So their line of sight is their row. So to find how they connect to the partner card, I want to follow their line of sight over until I get to the column of the partner, and that is the primary connecting card. The secondary connecting card will be the card that is part of the seeker's row, or column, I'm sorry. It's part, I need to learn my own lingo. It's part of the seeker's column and part of the partner's row, okay? So that gives you two intersecting cards, but this is the primary one because this is the seeker's line of sight, all right? Okay. Now, what this is doing, by looking for these intersecting cards, what that is doing is giving you a chunk of cards, a section of cards that these two share, right? So yes, these are the cards that connect them, but all the cards in between these two cards are the cards they share. Now, if the partner card and the seeker's card fall really far apart, like say they're like here and here, right? Or here and here. Well, now you have pretty much the whole spread between them. So if that happens, we still have two primary, well, we don't actually. We don't even have a primary connecting card here, right? We would only have this connecting card. What I would do in that case is I am looking at the primary line between them. Because of where they sit, this would be like the primary cards between them would be these cards. Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me put them back. Get over there. Okay. Now, all right. So the cards between them, the shared cards, that's these two connecting cards, and that makes all these four other cards the shared cards, the connecting cards, and these four. So that's, they have 6 shared cards between them, right? This is where you find what's going on between these two people during the time period of the spread. Okay? Now, also, what you also look at are the cards immediately touching the partner card, right? What cards are immediately touching her? Right here. She has 1, 2, 3, she has 4 cards immediately touching her. All right, because this is no different than reading the cards around any card of interest or any life area card in the spread. Surrounding cards explain, surrounding cards influence, surrounding cards describe. Surrounding cards have the greatest impact or relevance, okay? That's the standard rule. All right, so let's return to your intention when you laid the spread. If the partner is known, your intention will include any questions regarding their relationship, right? If there are any questions ahead of time, right? If the seeker is looking for a partner, so if this person isn't known, if he were looking for a partner, then the position of the partner card, along with the 3 relationship cards, will determine if this person would materialize during the time period of the spread. But also the cards touching this partner card will describe this person, right? Remember, this is an unknown person now we're talking about. So the touching cards would describe this person, or would describe the conditions by which the seeker may meet this person. This is all part of the art of tableau reading, okay? The ability to interpret the story the cards are imparting by being clear in your questions and intention and being fluent in the card's language, okay? So let's start by looking only at the cards that connect and are shared by Kronos and Rhea, all right? The primary connecting card is the bouquet. Right? Now the bouquet sits directly above Rhea's head. And it's the card of what? Happiness and pleasure, gifts and invitation, as well as appreciation. The secondary connecting card is the bear, which sits directly below Kronos and represents protecting what he has. Right? This entails having something of value to protect, as well as warning him to stay away from those who want what he has. Ooh, okay? I mean, such enemies can show up as the mountain, which heads off her column, okay? Or the fox. And look what we have here. We have Mr. Fox as one of their shared cards, okay? So you can already start seeing a little story here taking shape, okay? Now, what cards touch Rhea? The birds, right? The birds, the fox, the bouquet with the fox facing it. This is one of my directional cards. And the whip. Okay, so I'm already seeing a problem, right? There will be conflict or possibly arguments between them, right? Because this is touching her. And even though they'll make up, this is the makeup card, she'll be left with thoughts of distrust and self-interest, right? The fox is facing this card, and it's one of their shared cards, okay? This will cause a lot of chatter and temporary upsets for Rhea, okay? Now, with the whip on one side of the bouquet and the fox on the other, all touching her, right? She may manipulate the words of the argument, right? I mean, this is the argument card, right? She may flower them up, right, and manipulate them to suit herself. Fox is the card of self-interest, okay? Now, the cross above the bouquet tells me that this is going to test the relationship for Rhea, and she'll be left feeling more cautious. All right, that's the fox. Notice that Kronos has the dog sitting between him and the fox. Okay, the fox is directly touching her, and it's impacting her because it's above her. But he's got the card of loyalty, right, buffering him from the fox. Okay. So that's why, you know, we're really, when we're looking at these cards, we're really talking about her. Okay. Okay, so viewing these cards from his point of view, from the point of view of Kronos, I see that he would do well not to distrust the gossip or jump to any wrong conclusions based on misunderstandings. The birds is also the card of misunderstandings, right? Right? So this is the card of wrongness and distrust. So he would do well not to trust that. Okay. And also he's got the solution card here, right? So the solution for him will lie in protecting what's his, right? He stands on the bear. Okay. So based only on the cards that they share, I can already see that the relationship is going to go through a rough period, but it's going to survive at least for the next 8 months. And we'll look further at why I'm saying that in the next video. Okay. In part 2 of video 7, we're going to look at the 3 relationship cards. In part 3, we'll examine the meaning behind the placements of 28 and 29 within the spread, right? Like, why did he fall all the way down here? Why is she all the way at the bottom in the bottom row or fate line, right? In part 4, we're going to look at the constellations of the cluster cards. In part 5, we'll look at the life area cards that are of interest to Kronos. There may be more parts beyond that. I'm not sure yet, so we'll see. But we're going to get through this entire GT in all of the parts of this final video. Okay, so that's it for today, my friends. Stay tuned for part 2 coming up, and bye for now.